Hey everyone,
How's it
we're
going?
back. Want some salad? Episode
Episode
2?
2.
Yes, indeed.
Ooh,
And today we're going to cover high school stories, and this should be really interesting.
because I feel like we have the perspective of people who were there recently enough to remember all the stupid, petty stuff, but also we've had some time. We've been away from our high school for a year now, right, Dylan?
Yes, every
And
year.
we've had some time to process all that wonderful emotional trauma that comes from existing around other horrible high school age children for 4 years of your life. So
So hopefully some of these stories relate to anyone that's listening, whether you're still in high school, you got out 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
when
50
dinosaurs
years ago.
roamed the earth.
Yes, indeed.
Did you walk to school uphill both ways?
I've definitely heard my fair share of those stories. We definitely had to do some hiking to get to school.
Yeah, definitely.
So, um, I'll start off.
Please, yes.
So this one is in junior year. So it was psychology class, and our teacher, we'll call him Mr. B.
Hmm.
He was given a presentation about something, and this guy, he's very esteemed. He carried himself in a very professional manner.
Without giving anything away, because obviously personal details, we try to stay away from them. He was a very important person in our area where we lived.
Yes, he was an important
Teaching was
figure.
his side job, essentially.
Yes.
Hmm.
So so that just gives you an idea of how like
Yeah,
professional and
yeah.
like how he carried
He
himself.
had no room to make errors with the way he presented himself.
Yes.
Yeah,
And but I mean still he still like joked around with us and
decent guy.
stuff,
Yeah,
but when it was like class time, it was like time to get down to
yeah.
business. And
I can
so
respect that.
I respect that.
I respect that.
So we're we're sitting in class and he's giving a presentation, and
Hmm.
he makes the most this one presentation, I can't remember what it was about, but he makes the most minute spelling error on something. And
Which is so fun when you have like the most perfectionist teacher and they do something. It is infinitely funnier than like a
and
teacher who often messes up.
yeah, so he like points it out like to himself. He like apologizes to the class for it. And this one kid that had we'll call him Jay.
Jay.
Yes, he took it upon himself to start applauding by himself. He started applauding this esteemed
There's always that one kid.
teacher and figure. There is this one kid, and like he got lit up by Mr. T because or Mr. B. Well, I so he like so we're all sitting there quiet, and Mr. B goes off on this tangent about like how he tries to carry himself in the most professional manner possible, and we're sitting here like, Mr. B, this guy had leukemia for the last couple of years, so
Oh,
we're
oh! I realized who you're talking about.
yes, so
He's doing
we
better now. He's doing better now, by the way.
he is he's been doing better since junior year at least.
Yeah, he's
He's
definitely.
he
I
beat it.
respect him a lot. Yeah, he's definitely done a good job at. If you're listening to this, Jay, I respect you a lot. You used to weird me out in elementary school, but now I have a lot of respect for you.
Yeah, so we were sitting there, and it's like, oh my goodness. Well, he definitely should not have done that to the wrong person.
Yeah.
So that's one of the stories I got. Caleb, why don't you tell
So,
one?
uh, I'm gonna go big and bold here. So we live in an age where almost everybody who's gone to school in the last 100 years or so is familiar with the term fire drill. We live in an age where fire drills are not the only type of drill. I mean, you do your tornado drill where you
Yeah,
get down on your knees and hunker over in the
in
most
the fetal
uncomfortable,
position.
yeah, in the most uncomfortable possible position against those concrete walls at your school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we live in an era where that's not enough. We need more than that. We need active
Intruder drill.
shooter drills.
Yep.
Yes, yes. So we're in the middle of one of those. This is freshman year, and Dylan, you were in this class with me.
Oh,
We were in Mr. D's class. Mr.
yes,
D,
we were.
very, very laid back guy, very intense in a good way. He loved what he taught.
Yeah, he grew up tough, so he carried that
Yeah,
like
yeah,
mentality with him. He
very
still had a
like
lighthearted side.
very fatherly and also, but
Yep.
very like cool uncle at the same time. You know, loved the guy. He was one of my mentors in a lot of my activities. Well, this is still freshman year, so he's familiar with me from extracurricular activities but he's still getting to know me a little bit as a student, as a person, and he knows me to be a little bit of a jokester in class. He's not entirely bothered by it. He might have to shush me every now and again because I'm cracking a joke or two, but so
Dude, we always screwed off in that class.
Yeah, we did a little bit, but that was fun. So we have an active shooter drill, and so the way active shooter drills go is that depending on the situation and where they simulate the intruder to be, every classroom has to react differently. Sometimes they have to barricade themselves in a dark corner and like try to hide the fact that you're in the room. Some people have to vacate out. Some people have to like run into another room. They try to make it as controlled as possible. We happen to be in the situation where our best course of action would have been to just hide in the room in a corner and make it seem as though the room is dark and empty and nobody's in there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is high school, and we are in a high school where nobody uses their lockers because they give us like all of 30 seconds, not really, but you get my point, to go from class to class. So there's no point because you would have to go so far to retrieve your belongings that
in a short amount of time.
Everybody carries their backpack with them, so they're on the floor, they're scrambled around. You know how in your backpack there's those weird like straps that you pull on
to make it tighter.
How tight the shoulder straps are.
Mm-hmm.
One of them got caught on my shoe. And we're in the middle of this very serious, very grim, very, very quiet, and like, it's not a laughing matter of this drill. It's a very
especially since time. I think the quote unquote shooter had like roved by our room.
Yeah.
Sometime in the span of this happening,
or they were in danger of coming in our wing. Yeah, but when we say intruder drill, there was obviously nobody in there. There wasn't even a person acting as this. They would just be over the loudspeaker saying like, the intruder is in this sector of the school, and you're just supposed to use your imagination. Like I promise we weren't like really morbid. There was nobody carrying around like a pellet gun. We were good, but the strap is caught on my shoe, and I didn't notice it because I'm trying to get up out of my seat to go in the corner where everybody else is. So I'm walking like an absolute cartoon.
I remember
thick ass backpack dragging behind me.
I remember the reason that even happened is because you're trying to be chivalrous and you let like all the females in the class.
Yes, I was
get into the corner first.
Yes, chivalry is not dead. But in the case of that intruder drill, I would have been.
Yes, because dude, I remember you dragging that backpack with you, like trying to get into the corner.
And I was so scared because
you tried to get it off, too.
And then people started laughing at me because, let's face it, it was absolutely hilarious. But I'm
given
horrified.
The seriousness of the situation,
I'm horrified, and the teachers see me, and he thinks I'm completely goofing off, and he was livid.
He was so mad.
Livid, and I had to explain the situation to him. And the girl whose backpack my shoe was caught on, like, explained what happened, and she, like, backed me up. And that, like, I wasn't just, like, and you got a little bit of flack because you were laughing, correct?
Well, no, I actually had it in that time. I was telling other people not to laugh, and the teacher assumed that I was one of the people who laughed just because I always
fair enough. Okay, well, okay, like I said, this was 5 years ago, so my memory's a little spotty. But so that happened. I got chewed out, but like I was able to explain it to him, and like I had a couple people back me up, and like he kind of acknowledged how funny it was after the fact, but it was one of those things, where that could have gone really wrong. And thank God it wasn't a real situation, because I would be the kid in a real situation who's got his shoe caught on a backpack, and this guy's walking by the classroom, and he's like, "Oh my God, that's target practice right there."
Dude, you would have just had to if that was real, you would either had to just take your shoe off that was attached to the backpack.
Oh yeah, no, without a question.
And run through the field next to our school,
or just lay down. I would yes, like flop.
Just lay down.
That was a good class for memories, though.
Dude, I remember from my perspective of that, I'm like walking and I'm like, dude, they told us in no particular order to get in the back of the classroom.
Right, and you're just like all clustered.
So I walk into that back corner and like I see you on my way over. I see you letting like all the females go first, and then next thing I know, I turn around and you go to take a step. And this like backpack strap somehow loops itself around your shoe tongue, and you're like, you try to get it off for like 30 seconds, and then the teacher, Mr. D, like strictly told you to get in the corner.
Oh, he was
And
scary when he was angry too.
yeah, oh
I
yeah.
should be clear. He was.
So you thought you were
Yeah,
joking.
let me describe this man just really quickly. Probably what, about 5'6".
Yeah, something like that.
Very like solidly built, but like so like he was think like Santa, but then like who could also bench press at the same. Like he was very he had a low center of gravity, and he was very, and he had this like big beard. He was like redheaded, which like like people always associate with a temper. But he was a wonderful man, like all in all.
He is
But
awesome.
yeah, but man, like when he was angry, oh, you'd know it. So that was fun. Dylan, I invite you to take over from here.
Okay, so I got a story from I think between sophomore and junior year. This was
Okay.
at wrestling camp because I
Okay.
wrestled
Okay.
all the way from fourth grade till we graduated. But
Impressive.
so this so we're at this college wrestling camp, and this guy, so like us being like 10th grade,
Mm-hmm.
like high school students, we're talking to like some college wrestlers because we got some time before like our next practice or event or what have you. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're talking, there's a bunch of us talking to this guy, and he's telling us about when he was in high school. He's like, yeah, I got fifth my freshman year at States, and of course we're all like marveling at him because that was like great compared to like
Oh
our
yeah.
area. So we're like marveling at him. He's like, yeah, I got fifth, and then I got third, and then I won states twice. And he's like, but I should have won it all four times. I was sick the both times that I didn't win.
Wow.
And we're sitting there, we're like, wow. And then this guy, we'll
We are
call him
not worthy.
yeah. So we're with this other guy that's in our grade. We'll call him Hamlet. And so Hamlet takes it upon himself to inform this like prestigious like college prodigy wrestler.
Yeah, and when you're wrestling, like, tell me if I'm wrong about this. Like, the respect among wrestlers who even like get to attend like the big events, even if you
Hmm.
don't win, is insane, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So sorry, continue.
So so Hamlet takes it upon himself after like immediately after this guy tells us about like his state stories,
Mm-hmm.
now being at a D1 wrestling school. He so like he tells us that, and then it gets quiet for just like a second, and then Hamlet thinks that he needs to inform this guy that he should have won our local league tournament because he got second in like eighth or ninth grade. So this guy like, yeah, I should have been a four-time state champion. And this guy just like it gets quiet for a second. He's like, yeah, in junior high I should have won leagues of like one county. And it's like
That's like me saying I should have won our school spelling bee that one year, but I got
yeah,
third.
so this guy I actually got another wrestling story about this guy
Oh,
too.
please go
So
ahead.
we're riding back from a dual meet one time. We won and we were like all happy. It might have been close, I can't remember.
Mm.
But he for some reason he just he was a big dude. So he made a lot of jokes about like him eating stuff or like actually ate stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on the bus ride back and we're sitting in the back and we were talking about something and all of a sudden someone on our team just like they no, that's okay. He said he was thirsty, but no one had like any drink or
Uh
any
huh.
water or anything. And he was like, oh, he was like, well, and you know how like if you have a cup in your hand and you shrug, like the cup kind of goes like to the side with the shrug.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he did that with an ice pack and opened the ice pack and drank the fluid out of it. And we're like, Hamlet, what are you
That's like
doing?
drinking mercury out of a thermometer.
Yeah, and he started like choking, and he's like, bro, I was thirsty, and I'm like, no, 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 jeez, bro.
If I could, I happened to play. You wrestled with Hamlet. Hamlet was a very unique character. but
Yes.
you couldn't help but like the guy at the same time.
Yeah,
Like,
he was really
very
likable.
very outspoken, very nice guy. I'm not going to talk about like anything else, but just he was a guy who was fun to be around. I played
Yeah.
football with Hamlet
Hmm.
for a lot of my life, and I still think the best story I ever had is from junior year. We were traveling to a team stadium, like it was an away game that
Okay.
was 2 hours away, which is huge for us because like almost all of our opponents are like ever max 40 minutes, and
Yeah.
and this town they had come to us in our sophomore year and they beat our football team, which was kind of annoying because they didn't have a very good record, but they played in a better
A good game.
league. They played in like a better league than we did. So like
Okay.
they were bad, but their level of competition was higher. So
Hmm.
think like Rutgers playing like a team that plays Alabama all the time and loses to Alabama, but then they would absolutely destroy Rutgers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so we're playing them. So they came to our house. They beat us. We were a little annoyed, but I remember we were on this like coach bus. There was like Wi-Fi in the bus. These like comfy
Wow.
padded seats. It was awesome. Yeah, it was one of the most fun I had. We had like team meal. It was great. So we're on the bus. We're going there. We had this long game, and the game. This was like I think October, early October. But it
Okay.
was like very very cold October because like sometimes fall October can be a little warm, but no, this was like it was like sleeting, like crystallized like ice rain, and it was an awful environment to have a football game in. We didn't have the cheerleaders with us, which we sometimes do for away games. And
Okay.
there was like three fans of our team there because like none of the parents bothered to travel. Like who could blame them? You know what I mean? The only people there
Hmm.
were like the people who were like part of the booster club who like
Yeah.
supported it. So we're there, miserable conditions for a football game, and it was I'm not even gonna get into the game itself. It was just really cool. We won in like a last second comeback. It was I think the score was like 21-14 or something like that. Really
Oh
cool.
man.
We got revenge, and it was on like this freezing. It felt like December, like freezing sleet, like ice rain game on the world's worst turf field. I still have pairs of socks with turf beads from that field stuck to them.
Oh my gosh.
They're really tiny, and I still find them by my washer every now and again. Anyway, so we're in this locker room after the game. We're all really hyped. We're celebrating, and the coach comes in, and we're all really excited. And, he like gives us all like the love in the world. It was really cool. But then
Hmm.
he's like, all right, now make sure you all shower because we have a 2-hour bus ride back home. This is like 10 at night, by the way, and
Okay.
and you're like, we have a 2-hour bus ride, and I am not smelling you guys for that entire time. Think of the bus driver. So he's like, he's gonna mess with us, but he's like, we need to get a shower. It's a decently nice locker room, better than this field for sure. And Hamlet did not bring a towel. And as you've mentioned, Hamlet is a big dude. He wasn't short. He wasn't tall, but he wasn't very short either. He was a pretty average
Did
height.
did he
Very
dry himself off with paper towels?
He comes out of the shower holding a impromptu cup made out of paper towels over his private area, butt
Or
naked
is
everywhere else, and we're all crying laughing because it's just so ridiculous to look at. And he's embarrassed, but he's laughing too. But I'll never forget the visual of his very large body. I mean, this is the guy, like this is the big guy in the football team who squats like an infinite amount. He's very strong, but he's just very
Yeah.
big. And this guy comes out like holding paper towels over his junk, and we're like crying. It was that funny.
Man.
And I'm just like, nobody could loan him a towel. Come on, come on. But it was funny. I'll never forget it. Like it was a good night. Like that win coupled with that moment was just all around fun. So yeah, Hamlet, great character. I hope he has a fantastic life ahead of him.
Yeah, so dude, so I got another wrestling story, not about
Please,
Hamlet.
please.
This is about one of our really close mutual friends. We'll call him Ken.
Okay.
So so this is like one day like before a match, and we had like 4 hours until the match started, but
Mm-hmm.
like we just decided to stay at the school. And so we're like in our auxiliary gymnasium, which was attached to our main gym.
Mm-hmm.
And so like we were all like changing and like we were changing into like from I think from our normal clothes into like our match like attire,
Hmm.
like our warm-ups. And um so we're in there changing and like a few of the guys see Ken
Hmm.
um changing and they get two of them they get like a couple of their guys to like take Ken's like normal clothes. And Ken at this point was in between. He was just down to his underwear. He was in between like getting our warm-ups on and taking his civilian stuff off.
Correct. Yes.
And so he's standing there in his underwear and there's like four guys that just like bull rush him and they take his civilian clothes and they take his warm-ups. So he's standing there and they all run out of the gym. So he's walking around in socks and his underwear. And
Hmm.
then they come back after hiding his clothes at an unnamed location, and they restrain him and pick him up, and they open
Oh
the
my.
gym, they open the door to the main gym where there's currently girls basketball practice
Oh.
going on, and they throw him in there. And I think the funniest part for me, I was standing there, I was just a
Innocent
bystander.
bystander, of course. Yes.
Yeah, so like I just got finished changing,
Hmm.
and so they throw him in there, and then they cut and run, and so like they throw him in there, and I just hear this big like thud on the gym floor of like his elbow hitting the floor,
Hmm.
and then he like he gets up and like scatters like a deer back into the auxiliary gym, and the girls basketball coach was like a young dude, and he was like one of their like fathers, but he was like a young chill
Right. Yeah.
guy. Like he was friends with like a bunch of us on the team, and he just like blew his whistle or something, and he was like, "Gentlemen," and we were like, "Gentlemen," and they ran away.
That's funny.
And yeah, so Ken scattered back into the aux gym, and they eventually gave him his clothes back. But that I laughed so hard that day.
Not probably not as funny as your story, but again, because we had a lot of mutual like uh, crossover between our sports of football and wrestling. I played football with Ken, and a story I remember when we were sophomores, and you know the pecking order in football is like sophomores are like pretty much the lowest on the totem pole.
Oh yeah, yeah.
After workouts, like the junior high would work out with the varsity team. Like the seventh, eighth, and ninth graders could like come work out with the high school coaches and get a good head start. It was very helpful
Yeah.
actually. Like it's a cool program,
Hmm.
and I'll be honest, the upperclassmen for the most part were actually very supportive of the younger guys coming in and helping, and they would help out. But like you also like there'd be the guys who couldn't resist like teasing. I want to say hazing because I don't really think anything that serious ever happened, but it was an environment there for the young guys. But but once the season starts, if you're a sophomore, oh, the juniors and seniors have a field day with you. And this is workout season, right before the like actual season starts. But so it's probably like late July, maybe early August, and we're it's raining outside, which I remember because we couldn't go outside because I think it was storming. So we were having indoor practice, and but also because of that, so was track and field. And we usually would be in the gym, but they needed the gym more than us. And apparently, because track and field was more successful than the football team, they got priority. Thanks,
Okay.
Coach C, who you definitely know, who's very supremacist about track and field. Anyway,
Yes.
so we were in the weight room. We had a weight room. It was actually a very nice weight room, and we were doing that stuff. We were done. The workout was over. We went into the locker room to change, get into our street clothes, and head home. I don't remember why, but I think I was waiting for my ride, and there was just a bunch of people like still slowly dripping out, and there was this one senior who I was pretty cool with. He was a nice guy, but again, it was the kind of guy who couldn't resist a little playful teasing. Goes up to Ken and says, "Hey Ken," again, Ken's not his real name. No balls, which is obviously the modern version of "I double dog dare you," but it's even more serious. It's life or death now. If somebody says no balls to you,
Yes.
you must do it, or else
You gotta do it.
you have you have no testicular fortitude. He says, "Ken, no balls. Throw this water bottle in where track and field is practicing and yell grenade." full
Oh my
volume.
God.
So what does Ken do? Immediately, without hesitation, does it. Oh, and Coach C, Coach C was not a happy camper. Oh, but we were. Oh my, I was in stitches. I don't like that
Oh
was
my
some of the hardest
gosh.
I've laughed. But
I can.
Ken, sophomore Ken, having a little bit of a higher pitched voice, going full volume, full bore, grenade as he throws a half drank water bottle loosely into the. He didn't hit anybody with it or anything. He just kind of chucked it in and closed the door like
Did
behind
they
it.
like scatter or anything?
No,
Oh.
nobody. No, nobody. They didn't even react, which was the funniest
No,
part to me.
except Coach C.
Yeah, except Coach C, who was
Coach C
livid.
dropped whatever 7 platter meal that Coach C was consuming.
Coach C. Alternative code name would be we could call her Svetlana or something.
Svetlana.
Yeah, because she looked like a Swedish masseuse.
Helga.
Helga, that's a great name for it. Yeah, she looked like a Viking woman. No, it wasn't until I had her in class she was also a gym teacher that I realized she was actually like a really nice lady who was actually a very fun
Yeah,
teacher.
she's super
But
chill.
as a coach, oh, all bets were off. She was. But yeah, I grew to like her a lot. But in sophomore year, I thought she was the devil.
Dude, do you remember in junior high when you won president of Reed Club
Oh my god,
and you
yeah,
walked
yeah.
you walked around the classroom and played Hail to the Chief on your phone?
I did. I was a smug little prick.
You just won the presidency.
Well, it was our second election because the the first president got impeached because she didn't do very well, and then I got to hold it for the rest of the year. I should explain. Reed Club was our acronym for Reimagining Education as Agina Diplomats. The way I'm going to say this for dummies, we were trying to build a library in a little village near Ghana, Africa. It was a great cause. I was very happy to be a part of it. I probably was not the president the club deserved, though. It was my last year. I was graduating junior high school,
Oh
middle
God.
school. I was going to high school the next year. I didn't care. We basically had like a study hall where we did our meetings. I was sitting on the computer. It was like a tech ed room. We were sitting on the computers playing Happy Wheels. We weren't doing
Yeah, no one ever did anything in that classroom
no
ever,
ever.
whether or not you had class.
And I still got an A in the class, which is the saddest part. But anyway, I was glad to be a part of it. Honestly, I did better in that club the year before when I was just like a measly underling.
Remember?
Yeah, I was just a member. Like all the 8th graders were the leaders, and the 7th graders were the actual worker bees. Then I got to 8th grade and I did Pissel, but
Dude,
it was fun.
Dude, I got a couple more funny stories that I remember about you from junior high. I remember
Go in.
we were we were at lunch one time,
Mm-hmm.
and we talk about this all the time. And you had gotten up to throw your food away, and this was one of the one of maybe 2 days throughout the year that they decided to give away free food because they had so much for some
it was
reason.
an occasion.
And so you get up to go throw your food away, and I think I remember telling you that day not to throw your food out yet because I had a feeling they were gonna do something, which they ended up coming around with free chips, and yours.
Oh yeah,
you got back
this
from
big
throwing your food out.
cardboard box full of
Chips,
baked
and
Lay's chips, not even real Lay's chips, the baked health
baked product.
choice.
Yeah.
Which honestly though, pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, but
Low key. But so yeah, I remember we all had bags of chips, and I didn't even buy lunch. I was always a packer.
Yes, you did.
So sorry to any Chicago Bears fans, but
and me.
I even got a bag, and they were being so generous with them, and we're like, man, that really sucks. Caleb went to go throw his food out, so you get back, and you look at all of us with the most worrisome look in your eyes, and you're like, where'd you guys get all these bags of chips? And we're like, oh, you didn't see they're coming around with a big box, but I think when you're like, really? And you went to look for it, and as soon as you looked for the lady carrying the box,
she ran out.
She had just given the last one away, and you were like, no, and like
I
motion
did
like
the
finger guns.
the finger gun to the temple, which I do not advocate doing, by the way.
Nah,
Do not
it was a,
confuse that. It was very much just a frustration thing. But yeah,
oh my God. I remember
it was a sad
another
day.
time at that lunch table, a different day. We were, I had asked you, we were just messing around. I'd asked you to give an impression, a screamo impression of One Direction.
I'd like to preface this by saying we were cringy middle schoolers. Please don't hold this
Yes, we
against
were.
me.
We were cringy high schoolers until like senior
People are
year, to
probably
be honest.
cringing as they listen to this right now.
They definitely are.
We're sorry.
So, you know what? So at this point, it's just past it. You need to do the impression again so the viewers can listen.
Not a chance.
Nah, so in junior high, so like we're sitting there at lunch and I'm like, yo, Caleb, do a One Direction screamo impression. And he does the You Don't Know You're Beautiful song. And so like as soon as he starts,
Which was
I
relevant at the
can't
time.
remember if I can't remember if I planned this or not, but as soon as he starts, the head principal is like
Vice
doing his
principal.
daily roast.
He was vice principal.
Oh,
Wasn't
was he vice principal?
Was he not?
I can't
Wasn't he
remember.
the assistant principal?
He was no. He was head principal. Or actually, okay,
It
seventh
doesn't
grade he
matter.
was
It
assistant.
doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
Seventh grade he was assistant. Eighth grade
Everyone
he
was more
took
scared
over.
of him than the actual person
Than
anyway.
the actual
Yeah,
principal.
because
Yeah.
he was the one who did
So
detention. So yeah, I'm sorry. Continue. Irrelevant to the story. I don't know why I brought it up. Continue.
so I can't remember if I planned it or not, but he happens to like row right behind us as soon as Caleb does this impression, and he like we all get quiet and look at him to see like what his reaction would be because he just stopped and he's like listening, and Caleb, I'm like, Caleb, turn around, and Caleb like turns around and makes eye contact with him, and this guy just raises his eyes. And we're like, we all just lose it. It was
Like
so
that
funny. That
whistle,
must have been,
your whistle where it goes up and then, yeah, exactly that. Like the slide whistle. That's pretty much what he did. So,
dude, did you ever get detention in middle school?
I got told I was going to get it once ever, but I never had to serve it. And
Was that about the homework or
yeah,
something? Or was
it
it
was
about,
about me missing homework for this it was like this on high school honors prep math class, which sounds so ridiculous now.
that's snobby.
Exactly. It sounds. I hate it. I hate that I was in it. But it basically meant I got kickstarted a year for high school math credit, which I got to take one less class. It was worth it. I just
Hmm.
as a college student now thinking back on that, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. And I've taken a class called cinema appreciation. But my point is, I had like too many missed homeworks, and out of like a fit of desperation,
Slacking.
yeah, I didn't. It wasn't a great year. We've all been there. And there was this girl next to me, very nice, called Kay because I can't think of anything on the spot. And Kay offers just real quick. She's nice at the time. Real quick, I could copy off her homework, but of course, as soon as I start, who sees the teacher? Like she was completely busy with something, and I'm like, now's the time. And as soon as I start, it's like she had this sensor go off in her brain, like cheater alert, and she sees me, and she gets really mad at me, and and the thing is, she wasn't even upset at the other person for offering up their homework. They're just like, it's like, don't let him use you like that. Like I was the male, and obviously, like I must have manipulated her.
You were using K for her homework?
Yeah, I clearly emotionally manipulated her into letting me see her homework. And yeah, so that was miserable. It was not a good day. Some tears were shed because I got fully chewed out in front of like all my friends. I had like a lot of friends in that class, and I'm gonna preface this. I'm still kind of this way, and I have no shame in it. I'm an emotional person. I cry at movies. I like the fact that I wear my heart on my sleeve. So she is giving me the ass chewing of a lifetime. And I am just there in misery. Like she is like dissecting the moment I went wrong, and she's like, "The day of your birth was not really, but you get my point." And I'm just like mortified. And like I had people come up after me like later, and it's like, and they were like trying to comfort me, and they're like, "Oh my god, like I'm so sorry she did that to you." So
Giving you food
yeah,
baskets and stuff.
not quite, but like yeah, like muffin baskets and fruit.
Yeah.
No, but so I had to stay. I think I stayed after class. It was the request, or maybe it was this might have been the next day. My memory's foggy, but anyway, I was there in like a one-on-one with her,
You're like, it's time to make you pay,
and
teacher.
she's giving me like she's telling me like, well, you know the policy, 3 missed homeworks or something, and it's detention. And I'm like, yeah, I know, yeah, it's just. And she's like, I'm not gonna call your parents, and I'm like, you're not. She's like, no, and I'm like, why did you do that to me then? Why did you just sit here, look me dead in the eye, and tell me everything that was wrong with my very existence? And but like on the outside, I'm like, oh. And then she claimed I was gonna get detention. She never gave me the detention. It was just one of those moments where I think I willed it into existence of not ever happening. But it was a strange day.
Oh, dude, that's funny.
Thanks, Mrs. W. Actually, no, I'm gonna call her Mustache. She had a mustache.
Mustache. Hey, clown, don't call her mustache.
All right, don't call me clown. She you can vouch. She had I'm not even saying like a little feminine peach fuzz. Like
She
that.
did. It wasn't a milk stash or
She
anything. It
had
was a
like
pull
a
out.
full-on Charlie Chaplin pencil stash, dude.
Like this is like prepubescent me, like trying to grow facial hair.
you could have
Like a
drawn
menopausal.
you could have taken a Sharpie and traced the outline of her mustache. If she's listening right now, good.
You gotta take care of your facial hair, mustache. Oh, dude, so this was after this isn't a story about me, it's about my sister, but this was after we were already in high school and my sister had gotten to 8th grade.
Okay, yeah, you
And
always have the younger sibling who you warn about teachers. Yeah,
I
my sister did that for me. I'm the younger of my sibling group, so my sister always warned me.
so yeah, my younger sister had gotten I can't remember his name. It was like oh, okay, so it was his name started with a B, like, but the dude's first name was Lynn. So I guess he was
Oh
like
yeah,
heavy,
yeah, yeah.
like he was like heavy German or something, and his first name was Lynn. And
Wait, so I'm sorry. It wasn't his last name R.
was it? I can't rember. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
It was.
Yeah, because I remember I
Yeah,
had
so
him.
Mr. R.
I liked him, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, so my sister is just like going over her schedule for the next year, and it was like Lynn R, like science teacher, and my dad was like looking at her schedule with her, and he's like, "Oh, looks like you got Mrs. R for science," and we just thought it was funny because she was like, "Oh, that's Mr. R,"
Good old Lynn.
and then Mr. R was like, "It is ma'am." No, I'm just kidding.
But he told some he had the best dad jokes. But
Did he?
like he was a science teacher, so he would be like, we were learning about like archaeology and geology. I'm sorry, not archaeology. We're doing geology was the unit, and he's like, I want to warn you guys, this unit rocks. And we all just
Oh my
groaned.
God.
But like as I gotten older, I'm like I think about that every now and again.
Appreciated it more.
I chuckle now. I'm like, how sad is that? How old am I? I feel like I'm
Dude,
50.
this one time in boot camp, this isn't a high school story, but like it just reminded me in boot camp. So we were there like first week, like we just gotten there,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like one of the times when they like chew you out the hardest for like military bearing and like
Mm-hmm.
not doing anything unless they tell you to. And there's this one kid, and so our RDCs are like our drill instructors, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they had like just walked in, and this kid was in the process of telling a joke, which was like very against the military bearing, obviously. So we're standing there at like attention.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just like standing there ready to be given orders, and this one guy tells a joke to like the guy sitting next to him, and they start laughing. I'm standing across from them, so I see it happening, and I try not to laugh because
It's funny.
when they're so strict on you not laughing, like if someone starts laughing, it gets
Literally,
contagious.
when you can't do something is when it's the hardest not to do that thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we're standing there, and this kid tells a joke, and the RDCs walk in, and they see these two guys giggling, and they're like, oh, so they're like, what's so funny? And the kid that told the joke was like fessed up to it. He's like, oh, I just told a joke, petty officer. And then she
Which is
was
probably
like,
the best
oh,
case scenario there, right?
yeah, like
Just own up to
if
it
he
right
would have
away.
lied, they would have called him out. But they're like, oh, so what was the joke? And he sat there for a second, just quiet, trying to think of something, because he told me after the fact that it was ill-humored, which would have gotten him in even more trouble.
Right.
So they were like, oh, okay, so you are going to stand in the middle of the room, and we are going to stand in here with you, and then we're going to walk down the hall, and you are going to shout at the top of your lungs as loud as you can, ha ha ha, until we tell you to stop. So
Wow.
the dude sounds like a robot, and he's like, ha ha ha, ha ha ha,
Wow.
and he's like getting louder, and they go down like I'd say the building was about like 40 yards long,
Hmm.
and they like go down the hallway connected to the door, and they're yelling, they're like, still can't hear you. And he's like, at this point, he's like echoing through the room in the halls, like screaming, ha
Right.
ha ha.
Like screeching it, probably, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
apparently, so like then they eventually let him stop, but apparently like the week after that, someone hadn't learned the lesson.
Oh, goodness.
It wasn't no, it wasn't the same kid. It was a different kid
Oh, okay. Okay.
that didn't learn a lesson, and
Phew.
he like the RDCs got mad at us because we all kept asking the same question,
Hmm.
because like E1 recruits are like dumb, and we were all
Tell me how
asking
you
the
really
same
feel.
question. And these so like the I guess one guy too many had gone up and asked after they told us to stop,
Hmm.
and they're like, oh, so you can't follow orders. Okay, so you're gonna stand here in front of the clock, and and you're gonna say, I will maintain my military bearing every 30 seconds. And we're all like cleaning the compartment at this time. Like we're just like bleaching the room and the
Hmm.
floors and stuff. And this guy's standing there, and he's like, I will maintain my military bearing. And we're just losing it
Were
again.
you allowed to lose it? Like at that point?
I mean, if you can like conceal it and they don't see you, then you won't have
Okay.
to join, but oh my gosh, that was terrible.
That's
And
funny.
actually, I got one more story, which this one always makes me laugh. I heard it from a story here at A school. Um, it was like someone else's story, but so it was night of arrival when they like completely grill you. Like there's videos on YouTube that like anyone can watch to see what it's like. It's pretty hectic,
Hmm.
but this so there's this one guy who always wanted to know what time it was, and the RDCs had had enough, and they told him to stand in front of the clock, and at the top of every minute he had to say he like could not take his eyes off the clock, and at the top of every minute he had to be like, my oh my, how the time flies. So they made him do that for the better part of an hour, and that
Wow.
always makes me laugh.
That is that's intense. Man, some of those stories make me really, really scared of you.
Glad, yeah.
Like, what if you had to do this?
don't
It would
don't
change
get
you.
mad, get glad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, I have a great story.
You wanna finish it up with a good one?
I don't even know if we have to finish it up. I just got a great story, and you can tell me what you think of. But
Okay.
what I'm thinking of in my head is a story I really wish I could have been in the room for it. But it was a teacher I had, but it was one of his other classes.
Okay.
And there was this very, very not smart girl in our school, and I, you know, I'm not even coming at her, but she was very not smart, just for lack of a
Okay.
better way to describe her. We're gonna call her Elisa. Not her name,
Alisa or Lisa?
Elisa.
Okay.
Not her name, but she was like kind of your stereotypical, like, I'm not even saying like all people are like, but she was literally the ditzy blonde. Like she
Okay.
was a walking stereotype. She somehow was in some of my honors classes, which I guess means she must have gotten better grades than she let on. But just just one of those people, man. So she's in a teacher with one of the school's most so she's in a class with one of the school's most notorious teachers. We're gonna call him Mick Jagger. Mick
Okay.
Jagger was an Asian man, which is important for this story. Was a very honestly very pretty much I wouldn't call him divisive. He was pretty beloved, but like some people had just like this somewhat negative stereotype of him. Not at all for his race. It was the way he conducted himself. He was probably the most sarcastic bastard I've ever met, which made me respect him a lot because he was funny. But like he had the most dry, like off-putting,
Don't care.
yeah, don't care sense of humor. But like again, made me really like the guy. So he had a degree. I don't actually remember what state, but when I heard the story, the state told me it was Ohio. I know Ohio was not the correct state, but just for the purpose of the story, we're gonna say he went to Ohio State University and he had his degree up in his room. Mm-hmm. And somebody asked him. I believe I don't even remember his background. I believe if somebody asked him at some point, and I think we learned he was like his origin was as a Vietnamese, but like he was born in America, and like which is like sometimes tough to ask because like you don't want to seem like racist. Like it's like, oh my God, what country were you born in? Like obviously like his parents could have like moved here, you know. So he was an American. So this ditzy blonde girl asked Mick Jagger, "What part of China are you from?"
Oh my God!
And he, without missing a beat, doesn't even get offended. Just looks at her dead in the eye, and just goes, "Ohio." And like the whole class lost it, but like the dude like just had no breaking point. I don't think at all.
Oh, that's so funny.
And like the rumor around school is he was like the richest teacher.
Yeah, I heard that too. He always walked around with like suede shoes.
Oh yeah, like he dressed like he was at a country club like a lot of days, and like we heard stories. We think he played golf with like some pretty important people.
Yeah, he did.
He did. Okay,
did.
Yeah, you can confirm. Yeah, so we're pretty.
He told us this.
We're pretty sure he had bank.
Yeah,
which is funny.
Yeah, he's out here walking around with like blue suede shoes, and I'm sitting in his class with New Balances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved the guy. He was an excellent teacher to have.
He was awesome.
The issue with me was that he taught my weakest subject, which was chemistry, and despite somebody whose all-time favorite show is Breaking Bad, I am not good with chemistry.
There's a little bit of a different vernacular there.
Exactly, but like the whole point of Breaking Bad is chemistry. So.
It's like that time he tried to cook rice in the microwave.
Oh goodness, that's a story for another day.
Yes.
And I've done it successfully since then. I really feel the need to say that. I really want. I think it's really important to me that you all know I can cook rice. Just
a world-class rice cooker now.
Okay, another day.
Oh, that's convenient that we're on the topic of rice after we're done talking about the.
Oh, I think I know where you're going.
Hawaiian.
I think I know where you're going. Please go ahead.
Where am I going?
And tell me what you thought of with our high school and rice.
No, I was just
saying
that's.
I'm going to. There was so are we all in universal agreement that every high school had the weird kid? Yes. And I don't even mean it disparagingly. I encourage everybody to be themselves and to do what makes you happy. But we had this kid. We're gonna call him Greg. Greg was not his real name. He also went by
one of the many aliases.
He also went by a name that was not his real name, but I will refrain from using the name he used because I feel like he may still use that very adamantly, which is totally his thing. Hey, I don't even go by my first name. I go by my middle name. My first name's Frank, which is I don't care like sharing that. I don't care. Like I go by my middle name, but as far as I know, the name he chose for himself was not any part of his family name. It was just an arbitrary name that he liked for himself. So he picked a name that was also happened to be the name of like 9 million other people in our freaking school. So we had like just add him to the pile of quote unquote Gregs. It wasn't actually Greg, but so Greg wanted to be a NASCAR driver, which cool. Yeah, totally cool. Except Greg was not exactly what you would call a NASCAR driver.
He wasn't the brightest bulb in the box.
And see, NASCAR driver then somehow switched between like sophomore and junior, like anywhere, sometime between freshman and junior year, completely switched. Greg now had his heart set on being an airline pilot.
For Boeing.
For Boeing,
specifically
oh my
Boeing.
God, yes, this man lived and breathed Boeing 737. Was it 47? I don't care. I don't remember the number, but I remember enough of it from him saying it so many times. He still enjoyed NASCAR. He had a very big affinity with Dale Earnhardt Jr. That was his favorite. And looking back, I promise, he was a nice guy. He was harmless, you know. But he had this weird temper. He got very upset when he
Irritable.
was very irritable. He was never he never threatened anybody, but he was very he was what the kids would now call a simp toward many females, and he was very off-putting, and he didn't know how to correctly flirt with somebody he was interested in, and he would give off this like kind of serial killer vibe, which wasn't really, you know, what you were looking for. And like I said, he would just lose his marbles at teachers sometimes. Like our poor, I loved our homeroom teacher, Mrs. D.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
one of my all time favorite people I've ever met in my schooling career. And like I now that I think about it, I really actually I'm just reminded myself I want to shoot her an email and say hi, but because that's how you contact teachers is email. But he had this really weird. She was the nicest lady. Like she was patience of a saint. Helped everybody. She was like the school class advisor. Like she was the teacher representative of our class the entire time. So like if
She
you had a problem, like you would go to her, and she would like offer the best advice. She was basically like a counselor that taught math.
pretty much,
Wonderful
dude,
lady.
she actually taught my dad in his junior and senior year
That yeah, well
in high
that's
school.
yeah, crazy.
Cause
But the age, she's not like old, but you know she's probably 50s.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and my parents are really young.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's still crazy to think about. But yeah,
I know.
love the lady. So, you know, sweetest lady on earth. And this guy completely loses his stuff one day. Do you remember what it was about? I remember it being about our school laptops, but not like the
Oh,
specifics. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, it was something about the
he was very
laptops.
adamant that he wanted nothing to do with. We had like the Chromebooks. You know, like the one that
Hmm.
like let you do nothing except access Google Chrome. You couldn't download any programs. It was very much by design.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah.
and he was very adamant about never wanting one. And like and then like
And how
I think
against
it had
them he
something to do
was.
with like returning it because like it was the end of
Hmm.
the school year. And like obviously you have to turn in because it's a school property. Like yeah, it might be loaned to you, but you don't get to keep it over the summer. And he was very adamant that like he didn't even know where his was or something, and he was very offended that they would even like make him be responsible for. I don't remember, but this guy like storms out of the class, and like our poor homeroom teacher is like on the brink of tears because she's trying to be so patient, and he's like screaming at her, and
I,
oh, just he was a very unique character. And
dude, I remember.
I don't
Sorry,
think,
go ahead.
sorry, I just like, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. To be like a commercial pilot, don't you have to pass some kind of like mental
Yeah,
health
you do.
check? I
Yep.
don't think he would have passed. But so
He no.
I have heard nothing because he moved away or was doing homeschool or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
See, for like all of senior year, I genuinely hope from the bottom of my heart he has found something that he is good at and wants to do for the rest of his life because I hope he's happy. You know what I mean? Like I hope he's fulfilled.
Dude, I remember
Oh,
one
it's
time
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna interrupt you again.
he was like he was like notoriously like annoying someone.
Mm-hmm.
And they somehow like so you know how we had the censored like YouTube videos that like some of the YouTube videos
Yeah,
wouldn't show up
yeah. You like the YouTube.
because of our school's encryption like
Yeah, like some like the really obvious ones are blocked, but sometimes you could find these like still pretty decent quality videos that kind of slipped under the
re-uploads or something.
radar. Yeah, or
Yeah.
like memes were easy to find, like TikTok compilations or something stupid.
Yeah.
But
So someone like was really annoying him that day and or no, sorry,
he was
other way
really
around.
annoying.
He was really annoying
Greg was
someone.
annoying somebody. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and they looked up on their laptop and somehow found footage of Dale Earnhardt Sr. like crashing like
Oh, that's
his car flipping and they played it on repeat and he covered his eyes, and I was like, oh my God, I feel bad for the
Like
dude.
I feel
That's
bad for
cruel.
all parties involved, and until he did that. Like I get it, the guy is like relentlessly bothering you, but oh my, you got to know he's not able to handle that. Oh goodness, what a unique character. I completely forgot. I didn't even mention why I thought of him when you said rice. This kid's school lunch, like almost every day, if not every day, was you know what a thermos is? Like those like things that like
Yeah, like
yeah you keep this
to keep it
keep it
hot.
hot or
Yeah,
cold. Isn't that the idea? Is like it's
yeah,
insulated.
yeah.
Okay, he brought like a serving of like this like rice pilaf looking.
Just rice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like it wasn't like just white rice. It was like probably like flavored or something like that. But
yeah,
just rice every day. So we had this running joke about like rice in a thermos. But really
yeah.
stupid. But yeah, it's just like something I'll never forget. Is this guy eating this rice every day out of this like elongated thermos? And just what a character. What a character. Like, look, I'm probably better off for having like known him in some way, and I don't know it yet. But for now, I'm just like, yeah, that kid was weird. But
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to put up with people like that in your life.
absolutely,
But
yeah, it's a test of
that
patience.
when when he said the thing about the thermos, it made me remember this one day we were talking about like the Middle East or something,
Mm-hmm.
and someone said rices. We were like, this guy.
Rices. Oh, like ISIS, but yeah, that's definitely not in good taste. But you know, we're edgy high school students.
Yeah, high school. Yeah,
There's not a lot of
let's
filter.
let's just get back
There
to
is
that.
not a lot of
Dude,
filter. I
I
did
wonder if
miss
he
those
ever.
days.
I wonder if like for Halloween, this guy ever like taped cardboard like wings to the side of him to look like a an airplane, or like
Well,
taped
don't you
together
remember?
like a cardboard race
Do
car.
you not remember the night costume?
Oh, I do remember the night costume.
That was a spectacle. He didn't come into school wearing it, but he showed like everybody a picture of it. He had this like
Another example
full
of why
on
chivalry isn't dead.
full on like chainmail armor homemade night
Like
costume. Yeah,
Crusades,
and like
yeah.
yeah, exactly, like a holy war crusades night costume, and you couldn't help but be just impressed with how much this kid did. Again, I really hope he has found something. I hope he gets everything he wants in his life, no matter what that may be. Because you know what, he's just one of those people. Looking back, he probably deserves it. You know, could catch a
Yeah.
break. But thank you, Greg, for the memories. They will definitely not go anywhere soon,
Hold
and
on to him,
I'll
yeah.
make sure to tell my therapist about them someday because there's a lot. Whew.
And with that being said, I will tell my waiter at Olive Garden about that as they're pouring my cheese until I say stop
Oh,
on top of
on
my
top of the
salad.
salad, because I seem as though I'm at the Olive Garden with you, and we seem to have consumed all the breadsticks. So that makes it a
Yes,
perfect
we
time for
have.
me to pick up those tongs and ask you, my friend, you want some salad? See ya, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
If you enjoyed your salad and would like a second helping, make sure to hit up that waiter known as Instagram and search him for our account page known as @WantSomeSaladPod. I repeat, that's @WantSomeSaladPod. Follow our page for extra toppings, fresh content, and regular updates from your favorite hosts. I repeat, that's @WantSomeSaladPod on Instagram. Give us a follow, and remember, you ate the breadsticks, get your salad.